Hi again, everybody. So I'm gonna try to answer another question that came from someone in the group. It's kind of regarding these little slot together pieces. I think the question he was asking was, how do you change the width of the slot to match your material thickness? So I'm gonna go over a pretty easy way to do that. Actually, a couple different ways. First one, the easiest one, we're going to change our grid spacing. So I measured a piece of plywood, quarter-inch plywood, and mine was 0.23 inches. So I'm going to change my grid spacing to 0.23, and if we measure this slot, we will see that it is 0.25. So we want to change that to 0.23 so it has a tight fit. So the easiest way to do that, I don't know if you noticed, I just took the body and I snapped it to a grid, and then I'm going to grab it, I'm going to move it over so it's kind of centered on the grid. It doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to go back over to this node edit, and I'm going to select this one and this one, and I'm just going to grab them and move them over and snap them to that grid line. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So we go back and we measure again. This slot is 0.23 inches. So I've already done a couple of these other ones. I did these two on the bottom of the body. They were a little bit difficult to do because I actually had to rotate the body to get the slot vertical to do that. So for this last one up here, we're gonna measure it. I believe it's 0.25 again. Yes, it is. So we want that one to be 0.23 as well. So for this one, I'm just going to draw a rectangle, and the width is going to be 0.23, the thickness of my material. The length doesn't really matter, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm just going to line that up, snap that node to that node, and then I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to grab this little, I call it an anchor point. I don't know what it's actually called. Or I think in AutoCAD it's a rotate about point or something like that. Anyway, we're just going to move that to that corner. Again, doesn't have to be exact. Oops, not done yet. And this thing keeps doing that to me. I don't know why. Sometimes I grab it, sometimes I don't. So I'm going to undo that again. Go back to rotate. And move that anchor point again to this corner. And then I'm going to grab this corner and I'm just going to rotate it. You can see it's rotating around that anchor point. So again, we're not looking for exact here. And then I'm just going to take this rectangle and I'm going to center it on the existing slot. It looks good. And I'm going to select the body and use that node edit again. I'm going to select these two nodes down here at the bottom. Right click, delete node. And then I'm going to select the body and then the rectangle. Hopefully I got that in the right order. I always mix it up the first time. And do a Boolean subtraction. And I did get it right. And now you see we have a slot that is hopefully 0.23. Whoops, what'd I do? Well, it isn't. Let's go back and see where I messed up. Ah, 0.23. Okay, now we're going to snap that. We're going to go back and do the whole thing again. And again. Well, let me try something else here. I'm going to put these two corners on a grid. Let's see if this thing will snap to that grid. Holy cow, it does. Learn something new every day. Okay, so get that center back on there. Oops, we gotta do our node edit. Select the body and the rectangle and subtract. Okay. Now let's measure that sucker. There we go, 0.23. So the same thing would apply. Let's say you wanted to make this big giant lawn decoration instead of a tiny little one out of 1/4 inch plywood. Let's say you wanted to make this out of 1/2 inch plywood, we'll just say. So same thing applies. Can make this grid spacing 0.5. And we're going to kind of center that on a grid. Do that node edit again. Select these two and these two, and there you go. Measure that thing, make sure did it right again. There we go, it's 0.5. Alright, I hope this helps somebody. Keep the questions coming, I guess. Thanks.